Hey, Walter Sorrells back with another Knife Makers Friday 5. Today, keeping it fresh. One of the oddities of my knife making life is that I make a really wide range of knives. You know, my real specialty as a bladesmith is Japanese style blades, but I also make modern production knives, folders, some custom forged blades, kitchen knives, you name it. So, look, recently I was commissioned to do a Kbar tribute sort of knife. I mean, basically it's a souped up version of a Kbar. Mosaic Damascus steel, burl wood handle, Damascus fittings. I mean, it's unmistakably a Kbar style knife, but it's just way more complicated. Anyway, it's been an interesting process, and I thought I'd reflect on custom work as a general part of knife making. You know, as a rule, when knife makers reach a certain level of success, they tend to find a knife that the public likes, maybe a couple or three. They just sort of put their heads down and they pump out lots of very similar kinds of knives. And once that starts to take shape as a business model, most of them prefer not to do custom knives. Couple reasons for this. First, it's all very good and well to sit in the cheap seats and criticize smiths for, making knives as a money pursuit. But the reality is we all have to pay bills. We got kids to put through college, mortgages, all that stuff. And if you get well known for a certain kind of knife, that's what's going to keep you from having the bank take your house away from you. So you tend to just keep making those kind of knives. But also 95% of blade makers will tell you that true custom work, that's blades that are designed from scratch, usually by the customer to fairly specific design constraints. Well, it's usually a pain in the neck, and that's for a variety of reasons. Pain in the neck clients are one reason, but the biggest issue is that any knife that's not right straight down the middle of your skill set, the things that you do every day, well, it's kind of a crapshoot. Things just don't always go to plan. And when they don't, that's food out of your kids' mouths. So, a lot of good reasons not to do custom work. Now, I don't really have to take on custom work, but I still sometimes do. Why? Because it forces me to go outside my comfort zone and do stuff I wouldn't normally do. Take this Kbar knife. Great client, easy to deal with, left most of the details to me, which makes my job easier. Overall, just a really good guy, and that's an important thing. So the pain in the neck client was not a problem here, but the problem, such as it was that the knife was very technically demanding. There were a lot of little, pieces and parts to it that I don't normally do. And so some facets of the job, I really wasn't sure exactly how I was going to accomplish them. Now, as it turned out, I was able to solve every problem. I never had, to scrap anything or start over. In truth, the whole thing went really well. But let me tell you, I was holding my breath in a couple places. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a little bit of a hobby nut. During the course of my life, I've played guitar, I played harmonica, I took up drumming about 2 years ago. I've practiced various martial arts pretty seriously, karate, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Shinkendo. I'm a competitive shooter. I paint, I draw a little bit. You get the idea. And other than drumming, these are just the ones that I've practiced at least 10 years at a time. So the reason I bring this up is that, even though I make a living as a knife maker, I try to keep a sort of amateur hobbyist type mentality about what I'm doing. What I mean by that is basically just that I try to keep it fun. One of the things that I think hurts a lot of people when it comes to trying new experiences, I'm talking about hobbies, crafts, sports, whatever, is that they start out all excited and then they run into a few obstacles, or they realize that they have to practice in order to get better, and either they kind of get scared or bored or both. They're scared that they're going to suck, or bored with the fact that the level of dedication and practice that it takes to get really good at anything just kind of adds up on them. And I get it. To me, the way to thread this needle is to try to keep things fresh, try to take on new challenges, and recognize that part of the equation is falling on your face. In the martial arts, there's a cliche that the true master is one who has a mind like a child or a beginner's mind or whatever, so that you're open and wide-eyed to the experience that you're engaged in. I don't know that I've ever been a true master of anything, but I really like the thought of this. When you realize that you're hitting a sticking point in something, just try something different. I mean, that's the approach that I've always taken. In terms of knife making, if you're mostly making like utility knives or hunting knives or something like that, try a kitchen knife. If you do stock removal, try forging. If you make fixed blades, try a folder. It doesn't mean that you have to stick with this approach, that you're committing yourself to a whole new way of doing things, but it gives you a little different way of looking at things. I mean, maybe you've gotten pretty good at one aspect of knife making, and now you feel like you might look like a jerk if you try this new thing, and all of a sudden you look like a beginner or a hack again. But with this new approach, or looking at it from a different angle, here comes excitement, challenge, a sense of like freedom, really, honestly, because it's easy to get in a little lane and start trudging along, and feeling like you're just doing the same thing over and over. So anyway, my little tip of the day: if you've taken up knife making and somewhere along the way you found your interest waning, or maybe you're taking on some professional knife making jobs and now you're feeling a little burned out, hey, back up a little bit, try something new. Sometimes that means a custom knife, something that comes from another person's view of things. And it doesn't have to just be knife making. It could be anything. Your job, your marriage, your religious life, your friendships, anything that feels really important to you. If you're just slogging along, bored to death, what's the point? Take a look at what you're doing from somebody else's viewpoint. And that's basically what happens when you take on a custom knife. You're serving somebody else. And sometimes when you do that, the rewards come back to you double, what you're putting out. Just my thoughts, my 2 cents. Okay, guys, before I run, if you haven't checked out the Viewer Knives video yet, I put it out this year's edition just a week or two ago. I do it every year. I try to, solicit guys who watch this show to send me in some pictures of knives that they've done, and it's always something I look forward to. I get a chance to see knives made by viewers of the channel. Some of these guys are showing off their very first knives. Maybe they're made with really limited tools, and at the same time, there are other guys who are showing off just, awe-inspiring levels of craftsmanship. So, link in the cards and description. Check that out if you haven't seen it yet. Till next time, Walter out. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like what we're doing here, please subscribe and make sure that you click on that bell so you get notified of all the latest videos. Want to buy a knife from me? Check out my modern blades at tacticsarmory.com. Digging the channel? You can support our video making efforts on Patreon. I've been banging away on these videos for like 10 years, so I hope you'll show some love for all that hard work. Link in the cards and descriptions. Finally, if you're interested in making Japanese swords, check out my full line of Japanese sword videos where I show how to forge Japanese swords as well as how to polish them and how to make fittings, handles, and scabbards. WalterSorrellsBlades.com.